Hi guys, good evening to everyone. This is Prakash here from Armani Exchange. So I'm just going to talk about that Calvin Klein jeans. So Calvin Klein jeans, that's a brand. That was my first brand when I just started my career, and this is one of my favorite brand also. So this is a brand. This is basically it is a designer brand, and there is popularity of this brand for being well dressed and that great fit in it, a brand label and the good quality of jeans. So the Calvin Klein is basically popularly for its jeans and then underwear and the accessories. However, the company has a huge license of selling handbags, towels, accessories, etc. So Calvin Klein is not always that big name, but however it has become today. So the founder of Calvin Klein, that called founder of Calvin Klein, is Mr. Calvin Richard Klein, who graduated in 1963 and in with fine arts and degree. And then after that he started to work in dressmaking factory, but very soon he just left that company because his boss refused to pay $100 when he has just asked for. After that, with his childhood friend and that business co-partner, and with the rupee of $10,000, he opened a small coat shop in Newark. Since excuse me, the shop was situated in the Newark hotel, it was not long before the fashion and the designs were viewed by only thousands of people. But the coats were so simple, but it was fashionable and targeted to the younger crowd at that time. And following that year, that Calvin Klein appeared on the cover of Vogue magazine, which is highly popular fashion magazine in America. So now just let me talk about that earlier story of Calvin Klein. So in 1970s, that Calvin Klein, which really saw his business into a new heights, because at that time Calvin Klein had only sold that women's items and the women's product. But during that 1970, they started selling that menswear too, and they started begin selling jeans, an item which is Calvin Klein is still popular nowadays. So within just a week, a total of 2 lakh pair of jeans had been sold. So it is because of that reason I want to talk about that all that Levi's is the first brand who introduced jeans into the market. So earlier that Levi's jeans are just for the lifestyle purpose, but what Mr. Calvin Richard Klein did, he introduced that Omega and the Calvin Klein name printed onto the back pocket of the jeans. That acceptable, that style, that design is mostly acceptable by the young consumers, that younger at that time. And now that Mr. That Calvin Richard Klein gave a new look to the jeans, and that becomes so popular, and it was known like that designer jeans of that time. And this trend and this style began at this point and started, I can say, as a trend, and which has continued ever since. So in the end of 1970, Mr. Calvin Klein began to its license to sell that cosmetics and fragrances as well, but that those products were not so popular as the clothing and accessories. And then in 1971, Mr. Calvin Klein began to add new lines to his brand, including women's lingerie and then blazer and sportswear. So he won the Coty Award too. He won the Coty Award. That's an American Fashion Critics Award for 3 consecutive years. That is 1973 to 1975. And during 1980s, the jeans in general becoming so popular among all young crowds, and that Calvin Klein introduced underwear for both men and women in that same year. So that new underwear collections alone brought a $70 million in just 1 year. Mark Wahlberg, who was the famous pop singer at that time and was the face of Calvin Klein during that era. So the men's underwear were soon being referred to as Calvin's. Even one more thing, that advertising also made a great part, made a big role behind the success of Calvin Klein. So this was practically true with the underwear collection, because the business, which was also known as CK by fans, used famous faces in order to that bring the company, bring the brand more popular, and further more popular into the fashion world. So the brick sealed was one of the celebrity who modeled that Calvin Klein underwear in the year of 1980, and the slogan that nothing comes between me and my Calvins, which was controversial at that time, but mostly people talk about the uh, brand around the world. So after that, in total, there were more than 12,000 stores which sold Calvin Klein clothing, including many in the UK, Ireland, Australia, and the Japan. And then 1993, it was named America's Best Designer. So in the year of 2002, that Mr. Calvin Richard Klein, he sell his business to Philip Van Heusen. So there is a one more, many good faces, many celebrity faces also makes Calvin Klein more successful. So the Justin Bieber, who became the new face for Calvin Klein underwear for men's collection, and the Kendall Jenner, who began modeling for the women's wear underwear collections. So the introduction of these two popular celebrities, two popular faces, make Calvin Klein underwear more popular, our brand, than it was before. So the CK ran a successful campaign in 2016 also. So it represent all of its clothing simultaneously. It was one where their audience could get involved by sharing their photos, what they do in that their Calvins. So the campaign was influenced by Justin Bieber, then Kendall Jenner, and then Cameron Dallas, and many more celebrities. So it rapidly took off into social media, with sharing photos with the caption "I dash in hash my Kelvins." That means that people could get involved into what they do in their Calvins. Then there is a different segments, different lines are divided into that Calvin Klein jeans. That's one Calvin Klein, then Calvin Klein performance, then Calvin Klein jeans, then Calvin Klein underwear. These are the lines distributed. So that the journey of Calvin Richard Klein shows that if you have a focus on your work, if you have a complete dedications, complete faith on your work, so you can achieve your goal. So this is the journey shows that failure also, when his boss refused to pay $100 when he had just asked for. After that, he started his business, he started his small shop in New York. That also that show us that failure, whenever you just get failed in your life, so through that way you just get a light to your path of success. So the categories of Calvin Kleins are like shirt, jeans, t-shirts, polo t-shirts, the jackets, dresses, scarves, accessories, and perfumes. Shirts, that entry price is 4,000, which is a solid poplin shirt, till they have a denim shirts also in the range of 8,000. If I talk about the t-shirts, which is V, and that crew neck t-shirts, that range starts from 2,800 when I was just walking with Calvin Klein jeans, until they have 3,999. Polo T-shirt starts. They have a PK Polo, and they have a Pima Cotton as well in the range of that's the entry price 3,600 till they have 5,000. And jeans, one of the USP of Calvin Klein jeans, that's a super stretch jeans. They have into different fits, and the label also very popular. So the starting range of jeans now 8 to 9,000 till they have 15,999. Even the leather jacket also are very famous. They have like made of like cow leather and all that. So 25,000 that entry price, until they have 50,000 that limited editions they have. And in accessories, that belts are very famous with the initials of CK. Even that perfumes, if I talk about that eternity perfumes, that CK1 perfumes are also very famous, and the CK main collections also there. That range are starts from like 4 to 5,000, that entry price. uh, then they have sunglasses also, and they have the shoes also there, and they have watches also. They have introduced, I think it's been 3 to 4 years back, they have introduced the watches also. And if I talk about the CK underwears, that enterprise or the CK1 collection, that is a basic range of, in three different colors, are like 1,000 rupees, until they have Calvin Klein black, which is added with the microfiber. It's a very good to your skin, very breathable, good for the gym wear as well. 3,000 or 3,500, that exit price. So this is all about the Calvin Klein jeans. Thank you guys, thank you so much.